Let's call to order the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Batavia Public Library District for June 17, 2014, and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can you call the roll?
Sure. McGuire Popick is absent. Right. Blodgett? Here. Dietrich? Here. Van Lunen? Here. Jakubowski? Absent. Sullivan? Here. Schuster? Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Any comments from the audience? Okay, seeing none. Moving on to item 5, which is today's consent agenda. That consists of minutes from May 20, regular meeting, minutes from the close. Well, I guess that's at least we're projected to come out that way. Our fiscal year isn't quite over. So, okay. Any trustees with a question for Joy? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, item 8 is the President's report. I have a couple things this evening. First, I'd just like to thank trustees and staff as well for committing some significant time to our recent retreat and, I guess, strategic planning session. So I think it was very productive. We heard about the community survey, the results of that, which led into the strategic plan that we're now in the midst of undertaking. So anyway, thank you to everyone for your work on that. Another item of importance for this month is review of George Sheets, our library director, on an annual basis. I have compiled both the trustee reviews and staff reviews, so thank you to both the trustees and the staff for taking the time to complete that, and I think it will do well to illuminate our process for reviewing George. One item that needs to take place tonight is the appointment of 2 trustees to perform an audit of Secretary Schuster's records. That needs to take place before September 1st. Do I have any volunteers to pour over that?
What do you do?
Well, we just basically review what they're written and make sure that they're complete before they get
Documented?
yes, it's purged.
Well, we don't purge them, but the library is the only local government in Illinois that's required to do a secretary's audit. I don't know why. Library districts are the only local government.
It's not just you.
No, and there's a requirement of the annual report, which will be approved at the September board meeting. And basically, to simplify the process, in the office we compile an inventory of all the board meetings and committee meetings, so we can identify when all the sets of minutes should be in the files, and all the ordinances and resolutions and any other special documents the secretary is required to produce. And then this team of trustees, basically, we have all the files there for them to verify that we own them and they're in good order. It takes about, 20 minutes to Yeah, Kara's done it before.
Yeah.
But Kara's not allowed to do it this year because she's the secretary.
Right.
Okay. Well, I saw one volunteer over here, Mr. Van Lunen. Do I see a second volunteer?
When would we do this?
Oh, at your convenience, we'll schedule it.
I mean, like...
Anytime before September 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably sometime in July. Or August, at your convenience, you know.
Because I can do it, I just have family coming in, my son and his family coming in, so 2
We can work around that.
July, so.
Yeah. Well, July or August.
The end of July?
They're coming in the 17th and leaving the 29th, so. so.
You can do it before the 17th, if
Okay.
you like.
Our schedule's pretty big.
Okay.
So Tom and Diane.
Or early August.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
even better.
Let's go for early August, we'll get together.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
We'll get the records pulled together and give you a heads up.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Thank you, Tom, for volunteering. And then one other somewhat related note, I guess, at least in terms of community education. My second grade teacher, Kathy Hubbard, recently retired from H.C. Storm School, and she had the Circle Drive, I guess, on the school's property named after her in recognition of her devotion to education in the city of Batavia. I think she worked at that school from the day it opened in 1979 or thereabouts until just this month. So congratulations to Kathy Hubbard, and who really did instill her love of learning and reading into the children of Batavia. So I'd like to take a minute to recognize her. Congratulations. And then item 9 is good news and comments from the board. Any other trustee have anything to report this evening?
I do. Yesterday was the first day of collaboration between Mooseheart and the library for the summer reading program. So Allison Blades came out to Mooseheart and registered approximately probably 30 students into our summer reading program, Mooseheart students who might not have otherwise had the opportunity to participate. And the kids were really responsive to it. We also had volunteers, I'd have to say, quite a few volunteers from the Friends of the Library group, a couple of other people from the community, and we really appreciated that they were there. And the kids really responded well to that. It was fun. A couple of teachers, old teachers came in, and their skill in working with the kids was amazing. So we are looking forward to a few more weeks of that. So that was a really exciting experience, and I appreciate all of the help from the library staff for that.
Is that the first time that's happened? Or is that
Yeah,
first
that
time
was
you
hard, but we're doing it at the apartment, so that was kind of
cool.
the first year and that we did it. So it was great, and Allison was really enthusiastic, and the kids kind of like, what? So that was great. And a couple other things. My kids have been participating in the summer reading program quite a bit, and they've really been having a good time. And there's just a lot of enthusiasm down there, and I don't know where you guys get all the energy to deal with that the whole summer. It's amazing. So thank you so much for doing that for the kids and keeping them interested in learning over the summer.
Okay, thank you, Kara.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay. Item 10, correspondence and communications.
One quick question, was there any discussion you want to do about the Dropbox thing?
Oh, yeah, we could do that. Thank you for reminding me. This month was our first attempt at a paperless distribution of the board packet. Any comments from the trustees on whether that was a good system or
I thought it was fine. After I thought I had registered for, I already had a Dropbox account, and so when I first went in, I thought I had already registered for it, and it didn't. After you sent that second email, I don't think I was part of it. So then I went back in, and it took a little bit of finagling. So if people weren't quite aware of how to do it, it might have taken a little bit. Yeah.
And Doug pointed out to me that using the link I sent out, I guess it brings you right into that folder, so you don't even have to.
Yeah, that's what it.
Oh yeah, okay. So I guess technically you don't need to sign in to it, but if you do sign
I think
in,
they do
I guess
ask
you
you
can.
to sign in to create an account, or else
Right, yes,
maybe you could do
yes.
an option where.
But what if you have an account already, like?
I've got an account already. When I open it up, it asked, do you want to add this folder to
Or it says share, yeah, in the folder, you have to go share. There's like a little number next to the share icon, and then you click on that, and that's how I got
If
it.
you've already got an account, you just sign in and just share that folder. Now, then you can access it using your account wherever you happen to be. You don't need that link I sent you, so.
But I thought it was fine. I didn't mind reading it off of in that way, so I don't
I read it about as thoroughly as I usually do. It was a little hard on the computer to see some of the smaller numbers, but
Yeah.
it would have been, if I was interested enough, I could have taken some time looking at them here is pretty good. It's nice to just kind of scroll through it, see what we're talking about quickly.
You just delete that then, George? Do you delete that or?
Well, we can leave it in the Dropbox for a period of time, or we can take it out, whatever. We thought we might leave it up there, maybe keep a couple months worth up there just for people's convenience.
Yeah.
It's in the cloud, doesn't cost anything.
But we have the paper for it too. So.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Was it time consuming for you? Was it easier than having to mail everything?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Probably the worst thing was taking all the staples out of the packets I already made.
The way we produce the printed ones, we actually can send a lot of the reports directly to the business office photocopier, which can hole punch and staple and print back to back and all that kind of stuff. So in order to do the packets, we just generally just automatically stapled. So it takes a few minutes for it to go through and rip out all the staples. It would take longer to actually print a set without the staples, I think, than it would be just taking staples out. So. But actually, she had it scanned and posted. So I was so surprised. She goes, "It's done." I'm like, "What's done?" She said, it's already been uploaded. I said, "Great."
Oh, good.
Okay.
So if you like it, we'll keep on doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Diana knows still on the fence. I saw her wait through.
Yeah, well, it's just different, but it's okay.
All right.
After you resent it to me when I don't know what happened to it. I know I had it.
It's good that you set a reminder on Monday, though.
Right.
Fair enough. And some people told me that we included the staff on that so we could do a full test on it. And some folks said the original message did show up in their spam folder rather than in their regular mailbox. So
No, it came out in my regular, but I don't know if I don't know. Going back, I'll probably find it right away.
okay, we'll keep going. So thank you.
Okay. And we don't have any correspondence tonight?
Nothing in the packet tonight, no.
Okay. All right, then item 11, directors and librarians reports. George, anything to highlight here?
Well, not really anything special. Just a reminder that I put in here again that next month we'll have a little, it's about a 15-minute webinar, they call them, that will satisfy the requirement, one of the requirements for the per capita grant this year. And I've gone through it. It's not a bad little preview. This Library Edge project is something that the Illinois State Library has basically purchased a membership for all the public libraries in the state of Illinois, all 626 or so public libraries. And so for the next few years, they're going to be requiring us to do various things related to that. It's really a planning tool, so in a way, some of this will seem redundant to us having, since we're in the middle of a strategic planning process now. But I think it may be interesting. And that's it for me.
George said it's funded by the per capita grant. Do they assess us a fee for that, or?
No, it's in order to get the per capita grant. This is one of the requirements we have this year is for at least one board member and at least one staff member to attend an informational webinar in person or online. And I thought it'd be better for as many of the trustees to see it at once for everybody's convenience. So to get the per capita grant, this is one of the things we have to do.
Okay.
Yeah, the funding probably came from some other grant funds the state has, I'm guessing. Probably from federal money to whatever the cost is to buy into this.
Okay.
We've got reports from Joanne and Stacy.
Okay. Joanne, welcome.
Oh, you better tell
Up
them.
front, as usual.
Yes, show and tell. First, I'd like to thank Kara. I think some of what made things move so smoothly at Moose Heart was certainly Kara's organization over there. So thank you. We appreciate that. Allison, too, said that she thought everything went very well, and she did register about 30 students there and is very much looking forward to, the weeks as they go ahead. This is the first year at Moose Heart, and as we mentioned, last year we went to Batavia Apartments, and that was with a group of teachers from Hoover Wood School, because the children at Batavia Apartments attend Hoover Wood School. So the teachers actually coordinated that they wanted to go, and then invited us to come and do summer reading club. So Allison went there as well. Last Thursday was her first day there, and she only had a handful of sign-ups at Batavia Apartments, but she anticipates more because their day camp begins now this next week, and then she says that really generates the kids coming in. So she's very excited about going to both places and doing that bit of an outreach. Even without, she hasn't gotten the 30 from Moose Heart yet entered into the database, but we have over 1,800 children already registered for Summer Reading Club. So it's nice and steady downstairs, except if you're there right before or right after a program, then it can be pretty wild. So, come on in, and if it's nice and quiet, enjoy it, but if it's kind of wild, you know why. This year, we're thinking, we have 44 sponsors. Most of our prizes and rewards for children are coupons for businesses, either in this area or regionally. And we go out as far as like the Lego Museum in Schaumburg. But this year, for our local sponsors, our Batavia sponsors, we're sending them all a poster that says proud sponsor of Batavia Summer Reading Club. So we're sending those to Batavia businesses, and we're asking them to post them in their business from now until the beginning of August when Summer Reading Club's over. And so we're hoping twofold, that these businesses are recognized for being a Summer Reading Club sponsor, even beyond those that are participating in Summer Reading Club, but also that it kind of generates somebody coming into McDonald's or Funway might see that and say, hey, if we participate in Summer Reading Club, we can maybe get some incentives for Summer Reading Club. So kind of a twofold thing, but we do appreciate our sponsors of Summer Reading Club and hope that they will post those. As I mentioned in my report and I believe last month's report, we had over 90 programs scheduled this summer. Some days we have only one, but some days we have 2 or 3 things going on throughout the day. And just last week and the 2 days this week, I wanted to just send around some of our posters of some of the fun things that are happening in youth services. We had a piggy and elephant party, which was very exciting. Robin's Dog Stars was here and did some dog tricks. Allison did pizza tasting with middle schoolers. Was your daughter involved with that? They loved the pizza tasting, and I will tell you that Domino's Pizza came out first of the 6 pizzas that were sampled. And that was a very interesting process, as Allison was calling different pizza vendors and to see if they would be willing to donate a pizza. And all 5 of the 6 were very willing to donate pizzas because they were very excited to find out what the middle schoolers thought about their pizza. One pizzeria actually even called us the next day to find out where they were rated on the scale of
Were they number
pizza.
one, hopefully?
They were not number 1, but they were very interested. But so it was a very fun program.
Did they make comments about what they liked or what they didn't like about it?
She had a whole rating scale. They rated the sauce, they rated the crust, they rated the cheese, they rated the overall flavor. She had quite the process going there.
Can you share all that with the businesses?
She did. I believe she did with the winning business, and I'm not sure how much she did. It was posted, I believe, on our Facebook page too, the winning thing. So
the losing businesses might be interested in seeing what the comments were.
yeah.
I'm serious.
Now they can improve.
Today, we hosted our first of 3 Red Cross babysitting workshops. I just wanted to make mention of that because these are very popular workshops. Children who participate are here all day. It's a commitment from 9:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. And they have, at the end of the day, they receive Red Cross certification. And I wanted to point it out because it is become kind of an expensive proposition. So we are very fortunate that this year our foundation is funding the 3 classes that we're able to offer. They gave us a grant money, a gift money for that. So we're very happy about that. And then I also wanted to make mention of 2 of our per capita grant. I listed all the things that we purchased for youth services with per capita money this year, but 2 things I wanted to especially draw to your attention. One, I just had to bring up because he is so darn cute. Jolene Baytech added 2 sensory bags in our literacy kit. There are big canvas bags with several manipulatives in them that we're encouraging families to check them out if their children are on the have autism disorders or developmental disorders. And these particular bags have sensory activities in them. This is one of the items. This cute monkey, it has all different kinds of fasteners that children can use and try and things like that. There are pattern shapes with it. There's counting things. There's information for adults in there too, for parents as well. But I just needed to bring him along because everybody thinks he is the cutest thing. And we even bought an extra one of him so that he can circulate. A parent can just check the monkey out as well for children to practice those things. I will tell you that one of our staff members, Ruth Arrett, the shoes actually came off and the outfit came off. And so we didn't want that because we didn't want them being lost at home. And so one of our staff members is an excellent seamstress and sewed everything onto the monkey. So you can still manipulate the opening and closing devices, but you can't take the pieces all off, and you cannot see any of the things that she sewed. She just did a phenomenal job of doing that. So 1 sensory bag is already out. Jolene pointed them out in her sensory story time on Saturday. 1 is checked out. The monkey's been sitting in my office, but he'll go on the shelf tonight, and we expect them to be gone very quickly. The other is I wanted to draw attention to the 2 iPads. Well, we actually have 3 iPads in youth services. 2 are out near our play area, and 1 is in the computer lab. And they have the 2 in the play area that you're seeing there are attached to one of the round tables, and they have all early literacy games on them. The 1 in the computer lab has early literacy and some older games as well. And we've had some questions from patrons as to why all of a sudden now do you have iPads in the youth services department? We come for books or things like that, and that's a very valid question. But certainly one of the reasons we actually wanted to offer these is they just are another type of media for children to explore, practice, and building some of those early literacy skills. We have puzzles in the department. We have different manipulatives. So this is another type of media that children can use. It's been very monitoring. Children are on there for a little bit, and then they're off, and then somebody else gets a chance. So for the most part, it's getting very good reviews and very heavily used. We wish they would charge longer. Sometimes they're dying by like 7 o'clock because when they go on at 9 o'clock, they are running until 7 o'clock. So we may need to see what we can do about getting them powered all day long. But that's it.
Okay.
Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. Stacy, welcome.
Thanks. Summer Reading Club is underway in adult services too. It's a little less wild, but still very active. We have a number of participants who have already turned in 1 or more reading logbooks, which means these folks are reading at least on average 2 books per week. So we have some power readers who are already turning in those reading logbooks in adult services, teens and adults alike. There's some outreach going on in adult services too with summer reading this summer. For the first time, residents of the Homestead, Riverine, and Heritage Woods are being brought the reading logs. Pat Montana, our home delivery assistant, is taking those reading logs, and they're being very well received. A good deal of excitement about vacation option for summer reading club for those who cannot visit the library. In adult services, I've listed a number of the per capita grant purchases. We've got another item or two still coming in, which I'll brief you on once those have arrived. Wanted to highlight a couple of these. We're getting a new device for the Technology Petting Zoo, a Dell Venue 8 Pro tablet. So that'll be a different operating system for people to work with. It actually has Windows 8, and it's the Dell tablet. So we're excited about that. We're getting up to speed on it, and as soon as we get the technology to secure it to the zoo, that will be available for public use. And we've also done a digitization and microfilming project of the Batavia Republican for a couple of years in the early 1990s, which have been donated to the library. And so we've received the microfilm, and we're in the process of looking at how to handle the digital data that have been created. Any questions?
Are you going to reveal what the One Book One Batavia is?
I can tell you what 2015 is. This is retrospective to 2014, but 2015 I can tell you. The book is Manhunt by James Swanson. It has a subtitle that's something like Manhunt, the 12-Day Chase for Lincoln's Killer, something like that. And then there's a teen version, which actually has been on the high school reading list, called Chasing Lincoln's Killer, which has some wonderful illustrations on the differentiated, shorter text, more illustrations. It's actually worthwhile to look at both books because the illustrations in the teen version really nicely complement the text in the longer version, Manhunt. The author is going to be coming here in March, Wednesday, March 11th, 7 o'clock. I'll be talking about that again, but if you want to mark your calendars now, that'll be the date. Thanks. You're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Stacy. Okay. Moving on to item 12, committee reports. Facilities Committee did not meet. Finance Committee, Tom, anything to report there?
Well, we have it coming up. We worked on the working budget for 2014-15 that Joy and George worked on. And we talk about that later. And we also approved the salary schedule with a 1.7% index for 2014-15, which we applied to that salary schedule. And we saw no reason not to do that. That's it.
Okay. Questions for Tom?
For the newer trustees, the board had adopted a policy to automatically to authorize the finance committee to automatically review. I'm sorry, not automatically, but to review the library salary schedule each year, and if appropriate, to apply an index to the salary schedule, but not the salaries of the staff that are on the salary schedule. And the index is based on the percentage that's used for the tax caps each year. So 1 year's in arrears, and so that's
Okay.
what Tom was talking about.
Right, the minimum and maximum salaries for each grade.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you, Tom. Item 12E is a foundation report. Kara?
Yeah, we had a very lively meeting, and we came up with a couple of ideas on fundraising. So that was we made some decisions about that. So look forward to next year, probably around this time in July. Before that, we'll be marketing what we're going to be doing, but it's looking kind of like a beer, what was it?
Beer and chicken.
Chicken and beer thing. Kind of, I don't know. We'll see. We haven't put it together yet. But it's going to be, perhaps, somewhere located on the library property. Just an event and maybe some live music. A little bit reminiscent of some of the other things that might go on around here as far as fundraising might be concerned. Kind of like cocktails in the park kind of thing. you know, where you can purchase a table.
Only with overalls.
Except what?
Only with overalls.
Overalls?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm not sure with we were still working on that theme a little bit. So, but in the meantime, just to raise some money, because our funds are getting a little bit low, I think we have something else that we're thinking about doing.
Direct mail, I think.
Yeah,
More direct
right,
mail.
direct mail kind of thing. So, but we're always looking for new board members, so if anybody is ever interested, please contact the library and let your interest be known, because we can use some help with the fundraising aspect. Was there anything else as far as like
No, I don't think so.
did we approve something that it isn't significant? I don't think.
No, there were no grants approved.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, the foundation did authorize that the foundation for several years in a row has been the season sponsor for the New Lyceum Lecture Series, and agreed based on a proposal from Stacy to allow the use of that grant for the Sundays on Stage as well. So no additional money exchanged hands, but because the pot has been sort of building up with the grants over the last few years, and we don't always need to use a lot of that for each of the New Lyceum lectures, so now be able to be used for the Sundays on Stage. And the foundation will gain a lot of marketing and public relations out of that as well. And the beer and chicken thing, actually, one of the board members' families, I think in the St. Louis area, has been involved with a really successful fundraiser for a number of years. It is a little more laid back.
Yeah, but I think it'd be fun, something fun to draw in a crowd. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Kara. Item G is, 12G is Link. George, anything of note there?
Well, Link has embarked upon a long-range planning process, so it's not enough to do one. I'm going to be involved in two of them. And the consultant was in town last week and interviewed each of the directors and the Link staff members, and that process is just getting underway, and I think it'll be quite interesting taking a closer look at, where Link might go in the future. There's a lot of pressures being placed on libraries in Illinois and on library consortia, and so the idea was to be a little proactive in looking at our future, especially issues such as other ways to collaborate within the consortium, whether the consortium should grow in terms of number of members and that sort of thing. So a lot of interesting issues they'll be looking at. So that pretty much occupies
Okay. All right. Okay, item 13, some budget issues to take action on here. 13A is our working budget for 2014-15. So Finance Committee had two meetings leading up to what is being proposed here, and I guess I'll turn it over to Tom to highlight anything that he sees fit.
Well, we charged Joy and George with a few guidelines for it. Primary one, since we are a library, is to maintain the 12% of our budget for books and materials. And we also looked at the salary issues and asked to work for a salary pool of about 3.25, and to see if there was any additional funds available after everything was done for any additional personnel, and also to maintain our 2% budget from the library fund for special reserves. And they achieved all that. And in this budget we have in front of you, in the yellow pages, everything is on there. You can see what the different categories are, where the money's being spent or proposed to be spent, and how it projects out versus this current year that we're in, 2013-14.
It's a little tighter budget this coming year, but a balanced budget.
Yeah, our interest income is really
terrible.
Suffering.
changed drastically, I mean, as is everyone's.
Right.
But I didn't realize how different that was for our organization.
When you go back and look what it was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's the finance industry now.
Right. Well, and I know this board is going to have some real financial questions to wrestle with, given these building projects that are needed and yet not affordable currently. So this budget is an important one to keep us on track towards, being fiscally conservative, to save money for those projects while also trying to, get a head start on paying for some of those within this fiscal year as well. So, okay. George or Joy, any comments on anything else?
Troy?
Okay.
There's a bit more of a challenge this year than in years past, but, the day-to-day operations is not an issue, it's more the long-term. Some of these capital improvement projects that need to be tackled is the hard part.
Definitely. Well, and I'd also like to make a comment about the merit increase for staff. I think that's an important one, and I think it's well deserved for the trustees and the staff who were present at our strategic planning session earlier this month really saw what a good job the citizens of Batavia, the residents of this district think that our staff is doing, and that really hit home for me, and I really wanted to do what I could, or at least lend my encouragement to George and Joy and the finance committee to make sure that staff was rewarded for what really seems to be a fine job that you're all doing. So thank you for that, and we're happy to do what we can on the compensation side for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on our proposed budget? All right. Well, I can entertain a motion to approve. Okay.
Second.
Moved by Blodgett, second by Schuster. Let's do a roll call on this.
Blodgett? Dietrich?
Aye.
Van Lunen?
Aye.
Sullivan?
Aye.
Schuster? Aye.
Okay. Our 2014-15 budget is approved. Okay, now we have 13B is our budget and appropriation ordinance, which I guess is the formality that accompanies the working budget that we just approved. This is per state law. So, do I hear a motion to approve this ordinance?
I so move.
Okay, moved by Van Lunen.
Second.
Second by Schuster.
But I should say this is not the final version. This is the what they call the tentative form, which we're presenting to you today for your preliminary review.
Okay.
And then we will advertise at the July meeting. You'll hold a public hearing at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
So this sort of kicks off the review period for this, and we'll announce to the public that copies are available for them to look at. And so it actually technically doesn't require any action tonight, but although you can a motion to accept the tentative form as
to release it for public comment.
Yes,
in a sense.
That'd be very appropriate.
Yeah. Okay.
I can change my.
Just so that you know, this budget and appropriation is, even though it's for the fiscal year 2014-15, it's not for our tax year until 2015-16, so it doesn't mirror the working budget. It's a year ahead of that.
Okay.
because we're required by statute to do the budget and appropriation first, and then we do the levy, I believe, in November.
Right.
And then those tax dollars that will come out of that levy will then be for the 2015-2016 actual library year. So that working budget is only, in my dreams right now. It's not reality yet. So yeah, so it's really a year ahead of. That's why I said we're currently finishing this fiscal year. The proposed working budget is for 14-15, and this budget appropriation is really for the 15-16 tax year.
Right, okay.
But
Thank you for that reminder. Okay.
It's not confusing enough.
Right.
But still, this is very
Preparing
important.
for our November levy for 2015 taxes, I guess. Okay. So, Tom, do you want to revise your?
Yes.
Okay.
I revised my adoption to just that we can adopt this for presentation.
Okay.
In the paper.
Got it.
Presentation.
Okay. Second by Schuster. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Our budget and appropriation is hereby approved for release to public comment. Okay. Okay, item 14, future agenda items. You have a memo here in your packet about upcoming items. Lots of building project stuff still hot on our agenda here. Any other questions or comments on this?
No committee meetings next month, correct?
No, during the time when normally we'd be preparing the packets, I'll be at the
that's right.
annual conference. And then July 4th falls right in
Sure.
front of us. So.
Okay.
Okay, so we all get a month off from committee meetings.
Okay. All right.
Do we still have the board meeting on the 15th?
We do. And that's the one that will have the public hearing for the annual budget appropriation, and otherwise, and we'll have that, the board education on the Library Edge program. Otherwise, July tends to be a somewhat light agenda other than the budget and appropriations.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to item 15, I'd like to entertain a motion to recess from open session and go into closed session regarding performance of specific employees of the public body.
I motion that we recess.
Okay, moved by Schuster and second by Blodgett. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're in closed session at 7:48.